What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of On the Bluff. I'm your host, Christian Fowler. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Gabe Kuhn, our producer, Kenny Stubblefield. Boys, how we doing this week?
Back in the saddle, brother.
Yep.
I learned a lot about myself this weekend.
Yeah, how so?
I learned that football is a stupid game that doesn't matter.
Fair.
And that life is just a series of letdowns, and then you die one day. That's what I learned about
that sounds
life.
about right. Yep.
Yeah, no, we get very battle tested from being football fans. I will tell you that much. Watching Tennessee go to Tuscaloosa and not do well, but actually watching the Cowboys look competent. It's
that
like,
was nice. But also they always look good against the Commanders. I saw this. I think Dak Prescott 7-0 with a 126.4 passer rating against the Commanders in his career.
yeah, no,
you should have expected that was going to happen.
He doesn't lose to Washington or the Giants, really, but still, it's like then you just feel conflicted, right? Because your Saturday sucked, and then your Sunday was good, and it's like I'm kind of just set.
How should I feel on this weekend?
I don't know what to do because my hopes on the Cowboys have been so low, my hopes for Tennessee have been so high, and now we're flipping it, I guess, for the week.
Guys,
I'm just impressed.
The highlight of the week for Memphis fans was going to be Ballin on Beale.
Yeah.
Who saw that one coming?
Man, I was so skeptical, Gabe. I was so skeptical going in. I told the
Was it fun? Was it a good time?
I told the Memphis SID today. Kirk Downs, the basketball SID for the University of Memphis. I was like, bro, I was so skeptical going in. I was like, there's no way this is gonna go well. And let me tell you, man, there is something magical about Beale Street at night with Tiger Blue. I want to harken back to 2019. I know it's a sore subject for Tigers fans right now because they're going to be on Beale, or they're going to be on Broadway this year, or they're going to be at Vanderbilt this year or this week for the Vanderbilt Missouri game instead of Memphis USF game. But game day 2019 with the big stage, with the buildings all decked out in Tiger Blue, the fans, just the beauty, the aura, the aesthetic of Beale Street was beautiful. Right. And it was a slightly smaller version of that, this for Ballin on Beale. But man, it was fun, dude. It was such a fun night, man. What a good night.
I liked it, like the little basketball hoop there was pretty cool on Beale, like right there in front of Alfred's. I didn't go, so I can only take your word for it. How was the was there any notes about the presence of National Guard or bigger police presence? Any notes there? Like,
I'll just say this, man.
It's noticeable, isn't it? I haven't been down there since National Guard got in town.
I'll tell you what's noticeable. You imagine in your heads with me the female version of Bobby Hill.
Okay.
That's the National Guard that's dead in Memphis right now.
I did see Jeff Calkins posted a picture of the National Guard. Like, obviously, they're our neighbors. I don't want to, I'm not trashing anybody, but they're taking selfies with cops that are sitting on horseback. I was like, that's what our National Guard's doing down there.
Listen, bro, don't get me started.
We don't need. I mean, obviously, I didn't mean that big conversation, but it's just, that was the question. Because Penny sort of mentioned that before they even had the event.
Yeah,
he's like, it's a good time to get back down to Beale to sort of prove and get out of this funk we've been in for quite some time. So it looked like a good time, looked like good turnout. A student made a 10K half court shot, right?
Yes. Well, no, he did not. He got close, but he did not make it. He got.
They let a couple other people take a.
Well, it was they did a competition with a few of the players, a female player, male player, and a student, and the fan made a half court shot to win that competition. The actual 10K shot.
Did they give him something? He needs a reward.
I'm sure he got a reward. What he did get was he got dogpiled by every one of the Memphis Tiger basketball players, which let me tell you, bro.
That's a shitty reward. There's some big
Let me tell you what. This team,
they're big, aren't they?
Man, if you remember last year, it was kind of the miniature version of the Tigers. Like, I remember Christian and I walked into in 2021, 2022 season at the start. We went into a basketball practice at the Lori Walton practice facility. And both of us looked at each other and were like, holy shit, these dudes are big. Like one of the biggest teams I've ever seen in my entire life. They were monsters. Yeah. This team rivals that in terms of size. They are big at every position, except for Doug McDaniel. But he's awesome. He's really, really good. But everybody outside of Doug McDaniel, they are just monsters, man. It's a big team this year. Very noticeably bigger than last year's team.
Yeah.
Okay, we are fully burying the lead. So let's.
Well, we needed to for a second.
I know.
Man.
No,
let us have some good.
Yeah,
we needed to open it up
before we have to talk about how life's a bitch and then you die. I mean,
we needed to open it up with a little bit of positivity. But
Christian, I appreciate you saying that, man. Getting us back on track here.
We got to get to this because it's necessary to talk about. It's not going to be fun for anybody to listen to, and it sucks for us to talk about. But Memphis absolutely blew it against UAB over the weekend, and I feel like not many people, but I've seen some people making excuses. Oh, Brendan Lewis got hurt, so no, it doesn't. AJ Hill played well enough to where Memphis could have won this game. UAB is just a monstrosity of a team. They're horrible. They're one of the worst teams at the Division I level. And for Memphis to lose to them is just inexplicable. Like there's no amount of excuses or reasons that you can give that this makes sense or should have happened, or you can see why it did happen. Memphis's defense couldn't stop a putrid UAB offense, and Memphis's offense couldn't get going against a terrible UAB defense. Like it's just they're a bad team. I mean, they just fired their coach midway through the season because he was doing a horrible job. And there's a cool story with Mortensen coming in as the interim head coach, but it should not have been what it was. And now I'm concerned at where this season goes from here.
Yeah.
Not because Memphis can't beat everyone left on their schedule, because they're capable of it. They're a good enough team to do it. But for at least the time being, you just took every bit of momentum and wind out of the sails, because it was getting high again. Like people were getting high on the program again. There was a lot of buzz surrounding the team and Silverfield and Team of Destiny type stuff, and then you just go below it just completely. There's nothing really else to be said about it. This is a game they should have won by double digits going away. It should have been put away at halftime. Talked about Memphis starting slow all year, so you kind of figure when they're struggling in the first half, they're going to tear it away in the second half, and it's not going to be close, and the whole conversation is going to be on to South Florida. They didn't. They let UAB stick around, and UAB made enough plays, and Memphis did not, and blew it at the end, even more so when they had an opportunity.
Oh my God! I'm still having nightmares, Christian.
Just bad.
Still having nightmares. 3 pre-snap penalties, 3 scoring review plays too.
Yeah,
where my hopes are up. A false start by a quarterback on a quarterback sneak on 1st and goal.
Yep.
Hey, listen,
I thought that was on Adcock. They called that on Adcock.
Oh, whatever. I mean, it was AJ.
Whatever.
AJ for sure was moving.
Right.
But like in the end of the day, man, everything's still out in front of them. I'll acknowledge that. But when you lose a game like this, you just lose a lot of the hope that you had that they'd be able to handle these 3 games that they have at home down the stretch of the season in USF and Tulane and Navy. And I'm still trying to decide like what I despise more. And listen, I'm friends with Ryan. I know Ryan's a good coach. I've played under him, but I'm trying to decide what I despise more, like the lack of game prep that clearly went into this week, or then his answers after the game to some of the press questions saying you got out coached. Well, you got out coached by Alex Mortensen, a guy who's never coached, been a head coach in his life. Never in his life has he been a head coach of any football team. In his first game, he beats a ranked team. And then you say you got out coached. And also, like, I mean, how many RPOs do they have to run? Those little short post RPOs to Iverson Hooks before you decide, hey, let's sit on that. Yeah. Let's figure it out. I'll remember Iverson Hooks' name for the rest of my damn life. 11 catches, 172 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Also, offensively, completely abandoning everything that's gotten you to this point. I know that UAB didn't give you like run run looks where
yeah.
they had like, you had numbers, that type of thing, but they're past 100 in rush yards allowed per game. So it's like, I don't care if they have 8, 9, 10, 11 guys in the box. You guys are 10 in the country, number 10 in the country in rushing yards per game. Use that to your advantage. They can't tackle. Their defense has been terrible all year. Their rush defense is even worse. They go after them. So they escaped that. I thought after the game, like his answer on being outcoached, his answer on, what is or isn't a trap game. Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
He basically said, I don't really buy into the idea of a trap game. Well, you ought to.
Buddy, you coach
that's
like
that's
you,
what that
you
was.
coach,
We were all talking about South Florida, and clearly not just the fans, but it seemed like the team and the coaching staff overlooked this game, whether you want to admit it or not. So I just thought it was a horribly handled week, bad execution. Doesn't mean that the season's over. They still have plenty they can accomplish. But now, instead of having the grace to lose to one of these 3 good teams you're playing at home, you have to win all 3 if you want to accomplish what everybody wanted you to accomplish, what you wanted to accomplish for yourself.
Yeah.
So,
there's absolutely zero margin of error.
The other part of it is, I don't worry about this team getting up for big games and playing close with whoever's in front of them in those big games, in those big time moments. But time and time again under Ryan, we watch these shit ass teams, home or away, stick in there. And these are the types of games that Ryan loses.
Yeah.
That completely deflate the fan base and the team in general. It was UTSA last year. You've had a Temple game that you've lost. You had a Tulsa game that you lost not too long ago. You almost lost to Charlotte last year. Like, I don't worry about the big games. Like last year they beat Tulane. This year they beat Arkansas. They get up for those. They're always going to have a chance to potentially win. Win or lose, they're going to be in it. But it's these stupid Rice, UAB, UTSA, these in-between games that I just know there's one on the schedule. You can count on it that they are going to lose. And I think that's something that Ryan probably needs to look in the mirror about, where every single week has to have the same emphasis, because this happens way too often. It's happened every year of his career.
But Gabe, he talks about this all the time, right?
I know.
1-0 on the week, all in, 1-0 on the week. I'm confused. I get so confused by. I said this in the pre-show talk that we did before we actually started recording. It felt like the coaching staff just got cute with the game. They were just cute with it, and I got a little bit of pushback on that maybe that's not the case. But what I mean by that is it just got too cute. They didn't take them seriously.
Yeah, Greg and Sutton had 16 carries combined. That's part of it, and it's never like they were so far out of the game they had to throw the ball.
And they got 16 carries combined in a game where your starting quarterback got hurt.
Right.
Yeah. Which makes it even more inexplicable.
And then you had your true freshman come in and throw more passes in a quarter and a half than the starter did in 2.5 quarters.
Yeah.
He threw 25 to Brendan's 10.
Yeah. Which some of that, can be attributed to having to come back at the end of the game and having to throw the ball a little bit more. But at the same time, like, they ran the ball, 25 times for 119 yards. We talked about it, Gabe. We've talked about it every single 40-plus carries, 200-plus yards. Yeah. That's been the recipe all year. And I get it. They trailed for the majority of this game, but it's not like it was out of reach where you had to throw the ball as much as they did for most of it.
Final drive of the game.
How did they get back
after
into
all that work? How did they get down to the 1-yard line? Greg DeRosier ran for 41 yards.
And a turnover by the defense. Like, they turned the ball over on defense, which they've been doing. They're one of the best in the country at that. And they ran the ball. Like,
I just we can't excuse the defense though. The defense.
Yeah, no, they did not play. They played horrible.
Oh, they were terrible. No, that 100%.
I was so confused but did you guys notice that short post RPO every time single? The only way they got to stop on it is when the wide receiver dropped the ball at the very. I think it was second to last drive UAB had. You're just like, guys, they've ran that every drive twice. Yeah. How can you not stop it? It was amazing to me. Now, listen, like, you can give excuses all you want. Like, okay, interim coach bump, new quarterback bump, didn't know what to play, didn't know what you were expecting out there, Ryder what was his last name?
Ryder Burton. Balled out. Ryder Burton was awesome in that
He was
game.
really good, but like I don't think he's talented
Good?
enough to
No.
to be allowing 251 yards passing, 3
No.
touchdowns, and whatever.
No,
he had
you should
rushing.
have harassed him.
Yeah, so I just, man, it's inexplicable, but it's something that is a recurring theme with Ryan. You cannot give him any bail at all for having lost this game, because this happens every last year, and it's been the reason that they have not been able to get to American Conference Championship. The reason.
Yeah, without a doubt. So we talked about margin of error. We know South Florida's on the horizon now. This was a game that's been being built for weeks. It's been built up by the fan bases of both schools as a potential game day spot. Obviously, we know now that's not going to happen, and it probably wouldn't have happened anyway. So I don't want people to be like too overly bummed about that. But this game would have had the feel, and still to an extent, but obviously not as much. This would have felt like an AAC championship type of game.
Yep.
It could have been, that's the level of these two teams and the things that they had done so far this season up to this point. How do we feel about this game now? Because I'm not nearly as excited about it. Like, Memphis should be going into this game 7-0 at home. It should be a very big game feel. And you'll have some people say it still will feel like a big game. No, not nearly as much.
I still think I'll be excited for this game. If they win this game, here's the thing. It'll, not all of the momentum you had is going to come back, because people will still realize Tulane and Navy loom. Like those are still 2 games you have to win. But I still think the excitement comes back if they beat South Florida, who's number 18 in the country. And here's the thing. You want my prediction for this weekend? Not going to call for a Tiger outright win, but I guarantee they go into the 4th quarter with a chance to win the ball game. Because this is not the type of game that I worry about them in.
Right. Because
it's not the type of game where I feel like they're just going to lay down and die. This is the type of game where even if A.J. Hill has to start, because the Brendan Lewis day-to-day thing, I've gotten some reports from behind the scenes that he looks like he's okay. He's walking around in a boot. Seems to be some type of ankle or foot issue, but he's not like unbelievably hurt. It doesn't seem like anything that long-term, although we'll learn more. Maybe I'm getting some bad info, but this is the type of game where they're going to stick in there and have a chance to win it. Like I fully expect that to happen. But I think this weekend will make last weekend even more inexplicable. Like that's the problem I have with where this team's at right now. No margin for error, and I still feel confident that they will be there in these games against the best teams on their schedule. Just like last year, you lose to UTSA, you turn around and you hammer Tulane to end the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think they'll be in this game, and I think they're going to give it a hell of an effort. They'll have a chance to win. Will they win? I don't know. USF's very good. They're going to have to contain Byron Brown. They're going to have to do a good job of running the ball after what last week was. I mean, they showed some chinks in the armor, no doubt. So offensive line has to get going. There has to be a focus from Tim Cramsey and Ryan to give the ball to Greg and Sutton and get over 16 carries combined from those two. But, I don't feel that much different than I did before about this game.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on FanDuel Sportsbook right now. South Florida, only 4.5-point favorites. So it's not like this really changed things as far as the odds went. And I'm with you. I think they'll be competitive. We have seen Memphis get up for big games and not have much of an issue in big games. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't feel the excitement there anymore.
It's not.
Because it was finally looking like, because the narrative's been surrounding Ryan, and we talked about it earlier, he's going to drop a game that he shouldn't drop. And if he was going to do it, it didn't feel like it was going to come in this game. This just
and also I would say this, and I wonder if you agree or disagree. Of all the games on your schedule that you could lose, and still keep the fan base engaged,
this is
this is the only one, or at least the worst one you could have lost.
Yeah,
it's the worst one, and at the worst time.
Yeah, UAB's they're a horrible team. They're not good.
Fired coach, probably worse than the American. Maybe Charlotte is giving them a run for their money. New quarterback. I mean, right before the South Florida game, when you could have ranked versus ranked and game day in Memphis potentially, although I didn't think they were going to actually come. I just feel like all the good faith that he built up from the Arkansas win and the 6-0 start, like the people that may have jumped on board and given him the benefit of the doubt, they got their confirmation bias to immediately go after him again.
Can I tell you how bad it was? I'm going to read off the teams that UAB's played this year. Alabama State, Navy, Akron, Tennessee, Army, FAU, and Memphis. Who scored the least amount of points?
What do you mean?
Who scored the least amount of points?
Memphis scored the least amount of points?
Alabama State scored 42.
Alabama State, their starting quarterback went for like 350 and 150 rushing.
Yep. Alabama State scored 42. Navy scored 38. Akron scored 28. Tennessee hung 56. Army with 31. FAU put 53 on them last week.
Yeah.
And then Memphis could only muster 24 points against this UAB team with probably about 1,000 people in the stands. 980 of them, I think, were in.
Yeah, we're Memphis fans.
So just.
Can I ask you this, though, just on a lighter note? A.J. Hill, 13 for 25, 175, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The interception was bad. Looked like a miscommunication. And even if it wasn't, even if like they had the right communication and the route got run, it looked like it was going to be 15 yards overthrown anyway. So that was bad. But what, like all in all, what did you think of AJ?
I thought he was good. I mean, he's very well built. Like he looks like a high level Division I college quarterback. I thought he made a lot of really good throws. I mean, the timing is always going to be a little bit off with when the backup quarterback comes in, but for the most part, I think if AJ Hill was the starter or Brendan Lewis was the starter, I don't think it would make much difference for this team.
Yeah, just run the ball and execute that way, and I think you'd be solid. What I would say is I saw a lot of good things from him. His ball placement's pretty good.
Ball placement, yep. I agree.
He can run RPO schemes. The one to Christian Ross was that for the touchdown. The ball on the sideline to Cortez Graham that was sort of like a pseudo back shoulder, pretty good placement.
Good ball.
Even the one at the end of the game, the 4th and goal over the sideline was not bad ball placement.
No, it was there.
He was covered really well. Yeah, and speaking of which, not only am I angry about the false starts and the pre-snap penalties, we're running like pseudo fade balls on 4th and goal with the game on the line from the 5-yard line.
No, nothing schemed up.
That's insane to me. It's insane.
You got to scheme someone. You got to scheme someone open. You got to.
But no, I will say this. And obviously, maybe take it with a grain of salt because UAB is a terrible team and their defense is really bad. But I took away some pretty positive, like a lot of positives for a true freshman to come in that situation and perform and bring the team back and really
give you a chance.
Gave him a chance and then kind of took it away, but gave him a chance. I mean, I thought it was. I'm not going to say impressive, but I think there's some things to take away from it that should give you some positivity going into the future.
Yeah, I think it lets you know.
I do think he needed to a couple times on that last drive. Now, granted, one timeout and you're coming from behind. You don't want to make a mistake because you already made a mistake as a true like that nasty throw he threw. So maybe that's part of it. But there was a couple times where he was getting out of the pocket and he just threw the ball away. When I thought there were like 5-6 yards ahead of him to run and then get out of bounds.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I think overall, though, it lets you know, like, when Brendan Lewis is gone, you're okay. Like,
I think you're in good hands. I really do. For a true freshman to play, you know, I mean, his head was on straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It felt like he was processing pretty well. Calm.
Looked really calm.
Until the false start.
Yeah.
The false start.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Do you predict the same thing as me this weekend? You think they'll stick in this game with a chance?
Yeah,
to win?
I think it'll be close. I think Memphis will have a chance to win this game. And I think even if they win this game, I think you've still lost, I don't know, 70 to 80% of the fan base at this point that you're probably not getting back. I don't like to say that.
If they ran the table, they're getting those people back.
At the end of the year, I'm saying if they win this game, they get 70, 80% of the people back. If they're 11-1 at the end of the year, yeah. But just if they win this game, there's so many people that are so checked out right now, they don't care.
Yeah, and it's such
Nope.
a terrible time too with basketball season on the way.
Yep.
And attention being drawn away from the product. It was a terrible time to lose this game the way they did.
Yeah. No, I hate to say that because it sounds horrible, but it's just the God's honest truth. Like 70 to 80% of the people that were just on social media last week and talking about this team, they're gone. It's gone, and they're not coming back unless you're 11-1 in the conference championship. That's the only way you get them back.
Yep.
Sad truth, but it's the truth. All right, Gabe. Well, after that depressing first segment, we're going to take a quick break now. On the other side of the Hot 3, we'll get to talk some NFL, some college football news, and the Grizzlies with the season coming up very soon. So stay tuned. Other side, Hot 3.
In the heart of the Highland Strip for 27 years, Trilogy Tattoo has helped tell stories for Memphians for generations. Located at 530 South Highland, Richie and his team are waiting to help you tell yours.
From tattoos to piercings, your body art should be as unique as you are. Voted a Memphis Flyer top 3 tattoo shop in the city of Memphis since day one. Your story will be safe here at Trilogy Tattoo.
Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 11, and 3 to 11 on Sundays. They have convenient times waiting on you. Let Trilogy Tattoo help you tell your story.
At some point, you keep taking swings. You took a swing on Zaire. You took a swing on David Roddy. You took a swing on Jay. We're taking a swing on Cedric. You've got to take a swing, which we've taken 4 now. We tried a sure thing in Marcus Smart. It didn't work out, right? Because we had 3 straight swings, and then we went after Marcus Smart, and everybody, us included, we liked it. We felt like he fit the Grizzly MO with his defense and aggressiveness and leadership, and instead we got fat Marcus Smart who didn't even try. But now we've taken a 4th swing, and I think our next time up at the plate, it's time for Zach Kleiman to say, look, we've taken some swings. There's only so many guys, so many minutes to develop guys. We need help. But I think this is a very interesting season for Zach Kleiman because last year in an exit interview, he said we unintentionally got younger, and we got younger again.
Tune into the 2 Buck Sports Show with Rusty Witten and Drew Gann, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
We are back in and rolling on the Bluff Pod. It looks like Kenny's dropped off. We have Kenny out of commission, brother. Out in Collierville. It looks like he lost his power mid-episode. How about that for technical difficulties? But I'll run the Hot 3. I think I got it. I think I can handle it.
Yeah, let's throw it back to your to the olden days when you were just a radio producer and not a radio host. Like you're just combining worlds.
Where I'm just throwing up alley-oops to the host.
Yeah,
which is you in this case.
That's
So let's go ahead and get into it. We had a couple of firings this weekend. One in college football was Jay Norvell at Colorado State. No one cares about that one. Somebody's going to fill that Colorado State job, and we'll see if they do well. But the big one finally happened. I think the second longest stay on the hot seat ever behind Clay Helton when he was at USC. Billy Napier finishes at Florida with a final 22-23 record. Scott Strickland finally said it was enough. After this week, basically a lot of reports, CBS Sports, ESPN, saying that even with a win against Mississippi State, it could end. But they beat Mississippi State, and it's over with. They're looking for a new coach, and I think I want to start in one place and one place only with you, Christian.
Okay.
You know who the big all-in target is? That would be Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss.
They said this when Napier was originally hired at Florida, right? There was so many Lane Kiffin to Florida rumors. And I get it. Historically, Florida, much better football program than Ole Miss. I don't think it makes any sense. I think it's a lateral move at best for him to go to Florida. And like I said, people will hype up that job. It's not the Spurrier era anymore. It's not the Urban Meyer era anymore. Florida hasn't been very good over the last,
since
12 years.
I don't know, like year 2 of Jim McElwain, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Or Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen had a little bit going.
Had a year.
Not really.
They haven't been consistently nationally relevant since Urban Meyer, which some people may be looking around going, that wasn't that long ago. Tim Tebow won the Heisman almost 20 years ago. So it's been a long time since Florida was consistently nationally relevant. At Ole Miss, you don't have to win 10 or 11 games a year to make the fans happy. Lane is the freaking president of Oxford right now. Like, he is the most beloved figure in that city currently. He can do no wrong. Even if he wins, or even if he loses 2 or 3 games a year, you can point back to this moment when they were, going into this week against Georgia. They were a top 5 team in the country, and looked really good at just beating LSU. Like, Lane's not going anywhere at Ole Miss. He has job security out the wazoo. He is beloved, and he can do whatever he wants in Oxford, Mississippi. You go to Gainesville, and you lose 4 or 5 games. I mean, we've seen it.
Win it. Go 8-4 2 years in a row.
Yeah, we've seen it.
Who
all has been there since Urban Meyer? Muschamp, McElwain, Mullen, Napier. 4 coaches they've went through in less than 20 years. So it just hasn't been a very kind job to coaches. So for me, look, I get it. I think Lane's a great coach. I think Lane's a great recruiter. I think he would recruit extremely well at Florida because he recruits extremely well at Ole Miss, which is not a place historically known for recruiting well. So I think he would knock it out of the park at Florida. But why leave? You have it made.
I don't think there's much money difference at all.
He's the king of the transfer portal. He has Ole Miss nationally relevant pretty much every year. He's putting a ton of people into the NFL. It doesn't make any sense to me. I get it. I get that Florida people want him, but he would be stupid to leave Ole Miss because he has it absolutely made there. And like I said, it's a lateral move at best. It might be a downward move at this point. To the franchise are right now.
Who I think they should be talking about is James Franklin. James Franklin said on College Game Day that he's ripping and roaring, ready to get back into coaching. He would take a high-level job like Florida. 100%. And I think what Florida needs more than anything is stability, brother. Get a guy in there that can win you 8 games a year. I know that he hasn't won the big one, but that doesn't preclude him from winning the big ones if he got the job at Florida and going into the future.
Yeah.
He would be in a different conference. He's had success in the SEC at one of the hardest places to have success in the SEC, which is Vanderbilt. I think they should stop wasting your time with Lane Kiffin. Because I think there's a guy out there who's a free agent who would take the job, who could hit the ground running right now if you wanted to get the job. And I think you could do a whole lot worse, man. I really do.
I don't think Gabe, do you think you can make a better hire than James Franklin if you're Florida?
No.
Because I don't.
If Lane Kiffin said yes, sure. But he's not. I don't think he will. Because listen, if just put yourself in Lane Kiffin's shoes and be honest with yourself about this. And don't tell me it's money. Ole Miss can pay him. If he wanted to be the highest paid coach in college football, they could do that. If he wanted $10 million more in NIL, they'd do everything in their power to go make that happen for him. So I don't want to hear money because that's not the truth between Ole Miss and Florida. Like Ole Miss and Florida, same kind of lane right now.
Same bracket.
From a money perspective. Name one measurable thing that would get Lane Kiffin to go from Ole Miss to Florida. Like name one thing that's measurable. Because I mean, I guess the only measure you can do is sort of that old school thought of, well, they won a national title this century,
right?
But that's not how that works. Look at
because
Brian Kelly thought that's what he was getting at LSU,
right?
And look how that's worked out.
And that's
Notre Dame's in a way better spot.
We talked about it last week, Gabe, on your show because obviously we didn't do the podcast last week. But why would Cignetti leave Indiana to go to Penn State just because it's a bigger name? Because he's getting the money there. They showed it
11.6 a year.
Obviously now he's not. The conversation was different last week, but they just paid him $11.6 million a year. This is a different landscape of college football where you don't leave a job where you're having success to go to what is quote unquote a more historic team that has won national championships. That's dead.
And that's a good I think the Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame to go to LSU thing's a great thing to bring up because he made that move because he said, okay, I can recruit better and I can win a natty here. Well, Marcus Freeman's showing that he can win a natty at Notre Dame. He went there last year to the national championship and had a chance to win the ballgame. Yeah. And also, I just look at that move from Brian Kelly and the thought process behind it. which people sort of said they understood at the time. Looking back at it, it may have been the worst mistake of his career.
100%. Why?
Leaving Notre Dame to go to LSU.
Why?
It's short. I think it's shortened his career. I think.
Why leave? Why leave? Why leave the easiest conference in the world to play in the toughest conference in the world?
Yeah. Why leave somewhere where you can just schedule as easy as possible and have that schedule flexibility for the SEC? Dumb as hell.
Yeah.
Dumb
Let's. Are we gonna move on? Or we want to quickly talk Mike Norvell?
I was gonna just bring up who's next. Look for Luke Fickell to be fired very soon. 2-5 at Wisconsin. Just got outgained by 300 yards by Ohio State in a 34-0 win for Ohio State, but it should have been a 77-0 win. I mean, Wisconsin is horrible.
Not good.
Maybe right there with Oklahoma State as worst team in the Power Four. Mike Norvell, our old friend.
Not looking.
Keep an eye on it. 4 straight losses in the ACC, dating back to last year. 9 straight losses in the ACC, and the ending of that game, brother. I felt so bad for him.
Yeah, unfortunately,
it got down to a review, right, on a touchdown play, and there was some other craziness before that. But the ACC, I thought Gavin Sawchuk got in the end zone, but the ACC, when they went to the review, the ACC replay center was having technical difficulties, so they couldn't replay it. So it got upheld on the field. They lost 20-13 to Stanford late on Saturday. So he's another guy out. I think the next guy out though, and I don't think they should spend too much time debating whether he could get it going or not. I think Hugh Freeze should be fired at Auburn now.
Oh yeah.
It's the third straight year that Auburn has started 0-4 in SEC play. That's the first time in the history of their school that's ever happened.
Yeah.
He hasn't scored 20 points in a single SEC game so far this year, and he's supposed to be a guy known for offense. And I think the old Hugh Freeze things keep popping back up for me. It's never his fault, dude.
Can I tell you a secret about Hugh Freeze? He's not a very good coach.
Yeah, yep.
Hey, here's the thing, Gabe. When did he have success? At Ole Miss. What was he doing out the wazoo?
Yes.
Paying players. Shea Patterson.
When it wasn't.
Laramie Tunsil, AJ
No,
Brown,
the idea
DK
when he
Metcalf.
got the job though is now he can do it above board. But no,
he can't because
everybody else is doing it now.
He doesn't have an advantage now. I mean,
Yeah.
think about all the 5 stars that they got out
No,
of.
but it's not like they recruited horribly though. Well, this past offseason they did because he was golfing and he's had his health issues, but. They hadn't recruited terribly, and I mean they got Jackson Arnold out of the portal. That's a former 5-star that was wanted, even though he's been a flop. But what I hear from I've heard some of his post-game pressers this year, and this is what pisses me off. He'll question the mentality of his team.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's not like you're in year one, like coaching another coach's players,
right?
Like you've brought in all these guys. You've turned over the roster. Like you're the one who recruited these guys with that faulty mentality. And then he'll question his quarterback every year. And I just sit there and I look at the college football landscape and I go, in the end of the day, that's your fault as well, because in the transfer portal era, you have so much access to all the quarterbacks out in the world.
Yeah. And
you've picked Peyton Thorne and Jackson Arnold. I can guarantee you, Christian, if Auburn would have offered Fernando Mendoza, he would have gone there. If Auburn would have offered Trinidad Chambliss, he would be there in a second. If Auburn would have offered Darian Mensah, he probably would have gone there in a second. So I don't want to hear this shit about your handpicked quarterback not being what you thought he was. You're the one who picked him, and his mentality and everything that came with him. When you had thousands of choices on the open market and the money to do something with it. So I think he needs to be next, and I think it's due time. Make the right decision. John Cohen, the AD at Auburn. Moving on. Are the Chiefs back? Let's see. We have a little backdrop for you. Let's make sure we pull this up.
Producer/host. There he goes.
There we go. But are the Chiefs officially back? That's the question I need to know. They have these wins in back-to-back weeks that were very convincing. Obviously, last week they handled business against the Lions 30-17, and then this week 31-0 against the Raiders. And I think my favorite stat from that game is the fact that The Chiefs scored 31 points, and the Raiders had 29 offensive plays. So
Yeah,
the Chiefs
it's
had more
bad.
points than the Raiders had offensive plays. The Raiders
Yeah.
are bad, but it was domination. And it was the first week Rashee Rice was back. He had a 30% target rate among all the receivers that Patrick Mahomes had. So I'm just going to ask the question, are the Chiefs officially back? Are they the team to beat in the AFC?
Unequivocally, yes. And it's not so much. Yeah, they beat the Raiders. The Raiders are dumpster fire right now. Geno Smith has looked terrible. But you just have seen it the last couple weeks, right? Like, they manhandled the Lions in that game 2 weeks ago. Like, they just out-physical Detroit, beat them, what was it, 30-17? So they beat the Lions by double digits. And that was without Rashee Rice. They put up 30 without their best offensive player, not named Patrick Mahomes. And then they get him back this week. And there's a lot of question marks surrounding him, right? Is he going to be up to speed? Because not only was he coming off a 6-game suspension where he wasn't allowed to be with the team until this past week on the practice field, but let's not forget, he had a pretty terrible knee injury in whatever week 3 or week 4 last year. So I know you got a lot of people that, just didn't remember that and were like, why is Rashee Rice talking about coming back? He's coming back from suspension, not injury. And it's like, yeah, he is coming back from suspension, but he's also coming back from a terrible knee injury at the hands of his own quarterback last year. But he comes in, 7 catches, 42 yards, 10 targets, 2 touchdowns, and he just adds a completely different dynamic because we've seen Kelsey the last couple weeks start to pick it up. He looks like he's got his legs under him a little bit more. Xavier Worthy came back a few weeks ago. And now with Rashee Rice and Worthy, it's like they can use these guys in tandem so well, and we haven't even seen them fully unleash it yet because they drubbed the Raiders so bad they didn't have to do anything creative at all outside of a fake try to get you jump offside, actually go for it, which goes into the
that was pretty badass.
It goes into the Rolodex of Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, awesome things that they've done.
What do you say? This effing never effing works.
Yeah,
and then they ran a nice little dive. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Kansas City's the team to beat. I've been saying it for a while now. Once they got to full strength, I thought they would look like the old Chiefs. And Patrick Mahomes is on pace for 44 touchdowns. And you look around the AFC, Bengals are dead in the water with no Burrow. Ravens are 1-5 with no Lamar Jackson. The Bills are trending in the wrong direction, or have lost 2 in a row and are 4-2, and on a bye this week after losing to the Patriots and Falcons, who are 2 teams with second-year quarterbacks who are kind of working their way up and not supposed to beat teams like Buffalo right now. Really, the biggest threat in the AFC to the Chiefs, and you could definitely make the argument that they're the best team, or at least have looked and played the best in the AFC so far, is the Indianapolis Colts. They've been a locomotive. I mean, they just hung 38 on the Chargers, beat them by 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor's rolling. Tyler Warren looks like one of the best.
Is they have 26 touchdowns and only 12 punts so far.
That is absurd. And I think people are so shocked, which it is shocking because of Daniel Jones. We forget how good that 2023 Eagles offense was with Shane Steichen at the helm, and it's just taken him getting the right quarterback to make this offense work, because we've known they've had a great offensive line. We've known they've had Jonathan Taylor. They just haven't a signal caller to make things work, and Daniel Jones is running the system to perfection. Michael Pittman looks awesome. Alec Pierce looks awesome. Josh Downs, Tyler Warren, like the Colts and the Chiefs, that's the 2 best teams in the AFC right now.
Yep. It's going to be interesting to see the AFC West. Now, I don't think the Broncos will hold all year, but who knows? I think they're getting better by the week. Bo Nix is starting to play better. That defense is still talented, even though they struggled against the Giants this weekend. So it may be a different, sort of route in the playoffs for the Chiefs, depending on if the Broncos sort of hold on to number 1 in the AFC West, but we'll have to see how that looks. But I had my doubts about, Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice get healthy. Oh, that's your big plan. Well, I keep looking at it, and not only have those guys got healthy, but Patrick Mahomes, they've gone 4-1 in their last 5, and he's averaging 275 yards a game, 12 touchdowns, and 1 interception in that time period in his past 5 games. Like, he's turning back the clock to a certain extent to what he was a few years back when Tyreek Hill was still there and they had all the skill positions in the world that they could, throw to. So, yeah, this is the team to beat. And the thing is, you know, even if they don't win the AFC West, which I think I'd expect them to, as it stands right now.
Yeah.
Because I don't fully believe in the Broncos. Even if they don't win it, they have a big game coordinator in Steve Spagnuolo, and they're the only team right now in the AFC playoff picture, really, that has that championship DNA. They're really the only team in the AFC that has that championship DNA because they've had a damn apartment set up at the Super Bowl site for the past 5-6 years. So yeah, we're just at that point in the season where okay, it's time to stop doubting the Kansas City Chiefs because they're back. They're absolutely back. All right, now the Grizzlies season gets going coming up on Wednesday. Obviously, this is going to come out on a Tuesday, but Wednesday, tomorrow night, they will be playing against the Pelicans at FedEx Forum. Regular season win total, according to FanDuel Sportsbook, 39.5. The under is the favorite there. You see -114 to -106. And to make the playoffs, it's a bit juiced. They're +146. They're sort of in that play-in territory in the Western Conference. Now, Ja Morant, it has been stated by Tomas Isolo, new head coach, that he will suit up opening night. Jaren Jackson Jr. has already made an appearance, even though we were concerned that he was going to be out to start the year. But let me go ahead and get into it. Zach Edey's going to be out. Brandon Clark's going to be out to start the year. And then we added 2 more injuries over the weekend. Ty Jerome left the final preseason game in the first quarter with a calf injury that they called a high-grade sprain. He will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. And Scottie Pippen Jr. approached the training staff with a toe issue that will keep him out. That's going to have to be operated on, but will keep him out at least 12 weeks. So needless to say, the Grizzlies will have their best players, but they will be lacking a lot of depth until probably the new year at the very least.
Yeah. How are you feeling about this season? Do you feel confident? Do you feel like it's just going to be a lot of similarities to the last couple of years? I know obviously no more Taylor Jenkins, so it will look different at least. But, I mean, when you look at odds to make the playoffs, the regular season wins that we're looking at from FanDuel Sportsbook, it looks like a lot of the same, and injuries feel like a lot of the same too. So does it put some of the fire out about the season, or do you still feel decently confident?
Yes, I mean, like if you were one who came in the last 2 years with that idea with Ja Morant, Jaren, and Dez, okay, this team can make a run in the playoffs, and hey, Western Conference Finals maybe on the table. Yeah, put that to bed. Like that fires out. Like other things could happen. Cedric Howard could be a walking bucket and be rookie of the year for all we know, right?
Yeah.
And that could change their fortunes. And Ja could play 82 games. Who knows? And Jaren could play 82 games. That all those things we can't predict now. But I think when we're talking about the expectation for this team, like I just want it to be it is naturally tempered because you don't have Desmond Bane anymore. But I want the expectations to be poured into different buckets than what they have been the last 3 years. Like, I think there's some goals that would, to me, constitute a solid season. One, hit your over on your regular season win total. Get to 40 wins at the very least. I think you should be more 45, 46, especially if you get John Jaren for a requisite amount of games. But also, if Ja Morant can stay on the court for 65-plus games, you should feel that's a good thing. That's a positive goal to reach.
Yeah.
If Zach Edey doesn't end up wasting the season after probably missing 20 to 25 games to start it, that's a positive thing. Can you find some answers long-term that you've been searching forever at the 2 and 3 positions? Is Jalen Wells going to grow up before your eyes? Is Cedric Howard going to be an every night starter, which is what he should be tabbed to be eventually as the number 11 overall pick? Can G.G. Jackson reclaim a little bit of some of the rotational minutes that he had a couple of years ago in that lost season? Can he get better defensively? So I just going into this season, I want the expectation and the idea of what this team can accomplish to at least be
reasonable.
It should just be pointed in a different direction until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
Because they could prove us otherwise. If they start off 10-0, we can start having a different discussion about how good this team is, how great they are.
Right.
You know, for example, like everybody wanted to break up the Cavs last year, and they lost every game in the preseason, and everybody came in down on them. You know, Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell don't work together. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are never going to work together. They won 64 games.
Right.
We didn't think that was what they were going to do going into the season. Now, granted, they're in the Eastern Conference, different set of circumstances, but until they change our expectation with what they do on the floor, I think that we need to move the goalposts for this team and what they need to accomplish, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The idea of this team making a run in the playoffs, I don't think should be at the front of everyone's mind as it has been probably the past couple of years.
Yeah. All right, Gabe. Well, that does it for this week's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, and comment there. If you're listening via podcast, whether that's Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platform, you can do the same there. Once again, we appreciate you guys for joining us, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.